All right. Hello, everyone. It is Sunday. It is Sock Knitting Sunday. Let's knit some socks. I just want to make sure my captioner is actually working here because I was getting some errors earlier. No, we're good to go. So, before we jump into it, I wanted to show off my sock that we finished last week. I went to go try it on. I mentioned this on Wednesday, but Wednesday we'll talk about Wednesday. Anyway, it's now Sunday. Let's talk socks. Last week, I'm just going to turn down this music just a little bit here because it's sounding awfully loud in my ears. All right. I was mentioning last week that I had finished the sock that the bubbles down the drain that we were working on a couple weeks ago. And I had done the bind off. And let me just show you what that's looking like here. Got to kind of fandangle around the mic. So this is the stretch that I'm getting on this sock. This is as far as that bind off stretch is going. And the sock itself, you can see, stretches much farther. This is not enough stretch to get around my ankle. So I'm going to have to actually pull out this bind off and do a new bind off so that I can actually get this sock on. The rest of it fits. However, I can't get this on around my ankle. It is what it is. I'm still hearing really loud music. Bear with me here. There we go. Let me know if it's a problem. I trust you all. You'll let me know. Anyway, so that's the saga of the bubbles down the drain. I'm almost done the second sock and I'll be doing a super stretchy bind off. There is a Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off posted up on Knitty. If you're not familiar with it, it's just a quick Google and you'll be able to find it. Basically what it does is it just does an extra wrap essentially before each bind off. So your stitches are super long. So that's clearly what I need to do here. Once I'm done the second sock, then I will pull out the bind off in this sock and redo it. I may have to add some more yarn to it and tie off an extra bit, but that's that. All right, so let's get into today's sock. So today's sock is let me just get you the pattern here. There we go. It's the Earlybird socks by Cassandra Dominick, and that's also found on knitty.com. So it is totally free. So you can absolutely grab a pair, some needles and some yarn and join me if you'd like. Let me switch over to the craft cam. There we go. This is where we left off last week. So this is a toe-up sock. It has a herringbone pattern up the foot, and then it has a heel flap. So where we left off last week was we have the full toe created. We're just about to start the herringbone pattern. So it's looking not bad. Last week as well, when I was discussing this particular yarn, I'm just going to bring the previous sock back. It's looking pretty similar, isn't it? And unfortunately, you can't really see the difference in the color here. The new yarn is a little bit more minty than the old yarn. This one's a white and blue, and this one's more like a mint and purple. And I thought they were actually the same yarn, but it turns out they're not. So they're both from Knit Crate, but this one, you're not even going to be able to read that anyway. It's an Audine Wools luxury sock. Let's see. There's the label on it. It's Calico Quilt is the coloring. It's a 75% superwash merino and nylon and cashmere. So we have about 400 meters on this, which should be more than enough for a pair of socks. So I just wanted to make sure that you all were aware that this is not the same yarn as the previous sock, despite them looking practically identical. Okay, so we're starting the herringbone pattern. So the pattern recommends having the herringbone stitches all on one needle and then the sole on the other two needles. So that's what I've done. I'm just going to tuck this in so that I don't get it stuck there. Here we are. And this particular pattern, I'm glad I looked it up. So what it says in the pattern is we do the herringbone until the start of the ankle. Excuse me, until the start of, what's the wording it says? Work this pattern until it reaches the front of the ankle. Which, quite frankly, could be a little bit more specific in my mind of where exactly is the front of the ankle. So I went on to Ravelry to see what other people had to say and what kind of issues I might encounter with this particular pattern. So the ankle is just wherever the ankle starts, where you would normally start. So I'm going to go for about 6.5 inches from the end of the toe. So that would mean we're looking at a roughly about 4 inches of herringbone pattern before we actually start worrying about the heel. But the tricky part is most of the comments were folks weren't understanding the herringbone portion of this particular pattern. So hopefully this is going to work for us here. Bear with me one sec. All right. So the way that this works is we're going to be doing an elongated stitch, and then that stitch will be almost cabled in front. So the first stitch is we're going to knit one by wrapping the yarn around the needle twice. So that's not even, you can't even see what I just did there. So where I would normally just throw the yarn around the one time, I'm going to throw it around a second time, and then knit 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's looking like if you're just looking at the threads on the needle, you can't really see, it looks like there's an extra stitch there, but that first stitch is going to be elongated so that it's able to almost cable in front of these other stitches, which is where a lot of the confusion, it's not very clear in the pattern itself. So if you do decide to make this one, just recall that one. Okay, and then we're going to do that again. We're going to knit one and we're going to wrap the yarn around again twice, and then we're going to purl 3. I missed a spot on my pattern to highlight here. 1 sec. 2, 3, and that is our pattern repeat. I'm just going to highlight on my pattern. What I like to do when I have a pattern that incorporates multiple sizes is highlight the actual sizes that I need, the numbers that I need for my particular size. Alright, and that gets repeated. So I'm actually going to stick I'm going to stick a stitch marker here. I don't know if it's going to be the right choice, but I want to make sure that I'm doing this pattern correctly. Alright, so we're going to do that again. So I'm knitting 1 with the double wrap, and then knitting 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and knit 1 with the double wrap, and then purl 3, 1, 2, 3. I'll need another stitch marker, of course, because I put them away. Oh my gosh. There's a purl 3 at the start of this row. So, how fun is this? I came to the end of this section and I went, I still have 3 stitches here. Why do I have 3 stitches here? It's because I didn't read the purl 3 at the start of this row, so I'm just going to take back this row. This is going to be a good stream. This is good. This is great. Awesome. It is what it is. Not my worst stream though. So Wednesday I streamed. I was working on the lattice crocheted blanket. But Wednesday was a very, very long day. If you were able to catch the stream or the VOD afterwards, it is not my best showing. It was a time. I was essentially lurking in my own stream. It was not cool. Anyway. Much better today. I've gotten some sleep. It's been a very relaxing, fun weekend. But on Wednesday, I did get rated for my first time ever, which was super exciting, super surprising. It was awesome. Which reminds me I need to do a shout out for this week. And it will be for that raider because they are super cool. And it is going to be, I'm just going to finish tinking this back and get back to where we started today, and then I'll do my shout out here. But it was so wonderful getting rated and at the same time extremely embarrassing because it was such a my headspace was just not in the right spot. I probably should not have been streaming on Wednesday at all. But I did. So that is that. Okay, so the first 3 stitches actually need to be purled and then we start our pattern repeats. So let me do the shout out first. Make sure, hopefully this works. The last time I used this command it didn't work, so let's see here. There we are. Perfect. So it was Paradrago that came over and rated me, and if you have ever had a chance to check out their channel, it's such a cool, relaxed, vibing space. Definitely highly recommend checking them out. They do crochet and whatnot, and it's just such a relaxed space. It's so comfortable just to watch that stream, and I usually just tend to lurk. It's just such a nice relaxing thing to have on during the workday and whatnot, so I would highly recommend. But yeah, they came over and rated on Wednesday, and that was very embarrassing. It's not my best showing, but it is a thing, and I'm, as you can tell, super excited by it. All right, purl 3. Now let's actually start our pattern here. Knit 1, wrapping twice, and knit 6. Now our numbers should actually work. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we wrap twice again on this knit stitch. And then purl 3. 1, 2, fortunately today I got sleep, so while it may not be a super insane quality show, that's what you get. Alright, it's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least I'm present today, which is more than I can say for in the past. And then purl 3. 1, 2, is just not focusing today. I apologize for that. I don't know what the deal is there. Should be at least focusing in on the knitting. Alright. I'm gonna big twice. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we're doing another wrapping 1, 2, and then purl 3. There we go. We're at the end of the row with no stitches remaining. That's more like it. Yay! And then we're just going to knit across the sole. So it's been a very busy week. Fortunately, we had a great weekend. Our restrictions were lifted a little bit further since we're very close to 80% of our province's population has at least the first vaccine. And I think we hit 50% where we're double vaccinated, which is really, really great. I'm so excited about that. So the province opened up 5 days early for our next stage. So now there are things possible such as indoor dining and having friends over for drinks and stuff. And my spouse turned 50. Don't get old, kids. My spouse turned 50 earlier this week, and so we were able to have folks over and actually socialize, which is so fantastic. And a great topper to a very, very busy week. Of course, this week I went back to work again, and so my schedule is no longer my own. I'm still working from home, but of course the demands on my time are significant, so it just made this week extremely busy, very busy, because I still have to deal with all the familial things that are going on, medicals and all that fun stuff, in addition to work. Alright, so the next round we're going to purl 3. Excuse me. Alright, 1, 2, 3. We're going to drop that elongated stitch and we're going to drop it in the front of the work. So it's kind of like a left leaning cable here. Dropping that to the front. Oh, I'm not liking that. Anyway, knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Pick up the drop stitch. Okay, and now we're going to knit it. And then we're going to slip 3 stitches with the yarn in the back. 1, 2, 3. We're going to drop that other elongated stitch in the front, slip those same 3 stitches back to the other needle. Oof. I'm going to pick up this stitch again and knit it. I can see why folks were having a problem with this. All right. And then we're going to knit those 3 stitches we just slipped. And then purl the last 3. This is going to be crazy. Oh my gosh, we do this again, these same 2 rows over and over again. It's gonna look super great though. Let me show you. I don't know if you can see this here. we could focus. Anyway, we have a few elongated stitches in the front, so it's just a different type of, almost a cable. So that'll be pretty cool. Alright, so first, we're going to drop that stitch. I may have to grab a small cable needle because I'm not trusting that I'll be able to pick up that stitch again. It just seems very, very trusting. I'll slip, drop the next stitch, slip them back. Yeah, see that, I don't know if you can see that other stitch is just about gone. Don't go. Oof. Oh, all right, there we go. We managed it. We managed it. There we are. We have successfully done this twice. Let's go for a third time. I may have to wrap it 3 times. I don't know, because I'm just not comfortable with. Let's put the yarn back. There we go. Although it'll be the right length for the stitches if we only wrap it twice. Goodness me. Okay. Success. We have not lost a stitch. This is definitely not a pattern to be sleepy with. Definitely not. You need to be wide awake for that. Going to be an interesting pattern once it's established here. I'm going to have to grab my notebook and take notes as to how many times we repeat these patterns. So this is actually, this herringbone pattern is a 6 round repeat. So we do those 2 rounds that we just did one more time. And then there's 2 rounds of just knitting and purling as the stitches lay. So those will be our reprieve rounds. And I think for the last sock, we went farther for the last sock, I think we went a full 7 inches for the last sock before we started on the heel work. But we did 13 pattern repeats of 4 rows, which is 60 something. So we'll need about 10 pattern repeats before we start measuring for the heel on this one. How is everyone doing this weekend, this Sunday? I hope you had a relaxing weekend. I hope it was a good recharge for you. I'm wrapping that twice. I'm going to be a little bit more generous with that thread though. 2, 3, 6. Loosely wrap that. Maybe that's the secret. I'll just loosely wrap it. And I decided that this Wednesday, instead of working on a blanket, I will do some amigurumi. I have been wanting to crochet a tauntaun for a while. I normally make all kinds of them for my Etsy shop, and I've run out, so I need to make some more. So I think that's what I'm going to do on stream on Wednesday. We should easily be able to finish one that day. So aside from the rows where we're dropping these wrapped stitches, oops, it's not a yarn, but aside from those rows, this seems to be fairly straightforward as far as the pattern is concerned. So that's round 3. I'm going to have to do something with my chat window here on stream. And it looks like my captions have stopped. I apologize. Let me see about getting this sorted. Let's see, how's that? Testing, testing. Oh, it doesn't seem to be doing anything here. Oh, it's starting to move again. Maybe. Hopefully. Anyway, it is what it is. Hopefully that's fixed. Yeah, there we go. It's starting to go. But anyway, I need to figure out something with the chat because it seems to not show like about the last 5 lines of chat, and I don't know how to correct that. So I figure as long as I make these small improvements with every stream, eventually we'll get something that we can at least fake as being professional, right? That would be something. Alright, so we're about to start round 4, which is the same as the second round. So hopefully with the loose wraps it'll be a little bit more manageable. Let's see. Not actually focusing. It's so I do these small improvements throughout, and then the next stream, any improvement I make is trashed. Alright, so we're dropping this stitch to the front. We're going to knit the next 3, put the yarn in the back. There we go. Knit 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to pick that stitch back up. We're going to slip the next 3. We're going to drop the next stitch. Oof. I'm really not comfortable with that. Where did my other needle go? Here it is. I will do this. Swap it to the second needle and drop that in front, and then we're going to slip this back. So it's going to get a little hairy here, but at least I'm not afraid of losing my stitch. Now I'm going to knit those 3. 1, 2, 3, and then, whoops, no, I needed to knit. I needed to bring that forward. Okay. 1, 2, let's tink those ones. Oh, right. Okay, that had to go in front there, and then I knit it. Oof, okay, let's see. 2, 3, and purl 3. That's going to be an interesting looking pattern. I'll get the next couple of rows established here, and then you'll be able to see what's going on a bit better. So we're knitting 3, 2, 3. Then we're going to knit the one off this needle. Then we're going to slip 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to drop this one. I really should have just slipped those other 3 onto the other needle. We'll slip these 3 back. Now I've done cabling without an extra needle, and it turned out much the same way. A lot of trust in the stitches not being lost, and it took a long time. It wasn't my favorite way of doing things. There we are. Pick up this one. Knit 3, 2, 3. I'm going to knit this one, and then we're going to slip. I'm going to slip the other 3 onto this needle here and just hold it in the back, because it's just like a right leaning cable, right? And then knit that one. Whoop. There we go. Knit those 3 stitches. This is a lot of fandangling on the needles, I realize. So I apologize if this is looking confusing to you. Okay, so that was round 4. See if you can see that. It's not looking too bad. And now there will be 2 more rows of just knitting the stitches as they lay. And then that'll be our full first pattern repeat. Yeah, this definitely is not a sock I'm going to be able to do in front of the television. I'm going to have to really think about this one. It's going to look pretty interesting though once it's done. A lot of texture, which is great for a yarn like this that doesn't have a lot of spunk. Today was so lovely. I was able to sleep in. I actually got some housework done, which I rarely get a chance to do on the weekends. We're usually doing other things, but I feel like I'm actually caught up on stuff, which is nice. Even if I'm actually not caught up, I feel like I'm caught up, which goes a long way. Was able to take a nap. Those days are becoming few and far between, let me tell you. Oh, that's a pearl. I am definitely a pro napper, so whenever I get a chance, I try and nap. And today was one of those days I was able to do so. I've been really struggling with my sleep. Well, for the last few years, really. So any chance that I can to catch up on some of that. I'm one of those people that needs like the good full night's sleep. I can't go off just a couple of hours. I have a really rough time of it. As you saw on Wednesday, if you caught that stream, I was only going on a couple hours of sleep that day. That was not a good day. But we'll leave that in the past. Try not to harp on that. And I'm trying to find fans. We had a couple of floor fans and whatnot in this house. And do you think I could find them? This room gets so hot. I thought I would try and uncover them for today's stream, but I may have to start leaving the door open and then inviting my kids in on the stream. You can hear whatever they're doing. And then the cat will want to get in on it, and we'll see how that goes. That might be a one-day thing. Getting used to the new prescription as well. I haven't had to swap out my frames too much, which is great. Still a little wonky. I'm still learning to, because these are progressives, I have to look directly at whatever it is that I'm trying to see. So that's still a bit of a habit I need to form. But it's getting there. My eyes aren't as tired as they were earlier this week, which is good. All right, this is round 6, the last round of our pattern repeat. And then I'll start marking down in my notebook so that the second sock has the same amount of repeats before we start the heel. I was trying to locate, for purposes of the stream, the creator of the tauntaun pattern that I use. Unfortunately, I cannot find the original website that I sourced. Add to that I'm using an old printout of the pattern that I have marked up and changed. I don't even know if it's similar to the original pattern anymore. I've made so many changes, so it may be one of those streams where I just don't have a pattern to provide all of you. We'll just create it and go. Let me just check here. Okay, so the sole stitches are part of the same round at the end. Okay. Sometimes the patterns are written in such a way so the sole is the start of the round, and sometimes the end of the round. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right notion on this one. I do have some concern that this sock is going to be too big though, because there is a larger number of stitches on the needle than my last pattern. Because I think the last pattern was 62 stitches round. Now it does have a lot more stretch on the last pattern, so that might be the difference. But worst case scenario, I'll give these away if they're far too large. My son has bigger feet than me, so he may be getting a new pair of socks. And my husband would never wear hand-knit socks. It's not a texture he enjoys. So he's right out. All right, so there is the first pattern repeat. Let's see if you can... it really needs to focus better. Maybe it's just my eyes. I don't know. To me, it doesn't look like this is focusing really nice. But it is turning out to be lovely. So let me just mark down my pattern notes here. I'll just do that off screen here. How do you spell heel? 2 E's, right? Yeah. It's just my own notes, right? So why does it matter? It matters because I'm a stickler for spelling. Normally, it comes immediately to me. Alright, so there's 1 of 10. I'll take a measurement at 10 and see where we're at, but like I said, I wanted to get about 6.5 inches before we start the heel. So this week I was able to watch the new Black Widow movie. I'm not sure if anyone else has had a chance to watch it or not. We streamed it. We didn't go to the theater to watch it. I watched it with a girlfriend and it was okay. It wasn't amazing. It was kind of... There seemed to be nothing special about Natasha herself. She was just one more widow in a long line of widows. The mother figure seemed way cooler than, but you know, it was okay. It wasn't amazing. A lot of obvious CGI. Several portions of the story where things were conveniently there. There was conveniently a parachute where she needed one. Windows were conveniently broken where she needed them to be broken, etc. So, you know, it wasn't a bad movie, and I certainly recommend watching it because it was entertaining for sure. But there were things that could have been done better. There also was, and I don't know if it was just because we got it streamed or what, it seemed like the filter that they used was really strange. It felt more like a sitcom kind of a show rather than a superhero movie, which I felt was a little strange. I don't know if that's even a thing, but it felt like they were using a totally weird filter on it, on the camera work. Someone else who knows far more than me probably has a better notion of what I'm talking about there. And another thing relevant to my interests, I'm a fan of rock music. And if you are too, the Foo Fighters released a vinyl this week, which is a crossover between, it's them doing Bee Gees music, which I also love the Bee Gees. So to have the Foo Fighters do Bee Gees music is super exciting. So they do have a video up on YouTube that you can check out. You Should Be Dancing is up there, and highly recommend because they do a great job. The album, unfortunately, is sold out, so there's no way to get a hold of that album, and of course it's not streamable at this time. Hopefully they'll be able to, they'll put some more videos out so we can actually hear all of it. But if you're lucky enough to have a friend or something that was able to get the album, then that might be something fun to do. They add just that little bit extra dirty guitar kind of a feel. All right, this goes in front. 1, 2, 3. Now that was a looser wrap, so it seems to be better. I'm going to try to do this, because I really should just do this without the extra needle. So as long as I remember to do a looser wrap, it should be okay. That seemed to work out okay. And it doesn't seem to matter how I pick these up either. With the yarn, the leg in the front or whatever, it seems to be okay to just drop it and pick it up however I pick it up. I'm sure there's actually a correct way of doing it, but oh, and it's making like little hearts. I'll show you here in a minute. It's making these teeny tiny little hearts going up the foot. That's so cute. Oh, that stitch is going to be lost. Let's pick that up. I obviously was not loose enough on that one. 3. Let's put that back now. The tongue's going to be coming out soon. I'll be doing the thinking face. The I need to work hard and pay attention face. There we go. So let's see if I can show you. No, let's actually get in the camera. See, it kind of looks like a little flower or little heart. Isn't that cute? I have little hearts going up the foot. That's so sweet. I had actually intended on finishing the other sock from last week entirely today, but by about 3 o'clock I was doing the whole nodding off thing and thought, no, that sock is not getting done because I am taking a nap. Some days it's just that way. It just be like that. So I suspect that this week is going to be a busy week again, but I don't have as many appointments and things that I need to try and squeeze into my work schedule, so it should be a lot more manageable. I'll probably still be tired, and I definitely will not be able to take naps throughout the week, but it'll be manageable. Alright, this is the row where we wrap our stitches, so 2, 6, made sure to make those super loose, so hopefully it'll be okay. Get that out of the way. Three, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if you can hear the music. It's not showing that it's actually playing. I should rephrase. It's not showing that it's coming through. I can hear it playing. And it's a lot more upbeat than I've played in the past, which is nice. Let me see if I can correct this so it actually comes through on your end. Let's see if that makes a difference. And if it's too loud, oops, I forgot to do the wrap on that one. If it's too loud, of course, please let me know. All right. Wrap and wrap. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to knit up fairly quickly, the length of it. It's already several inches long. So that's pretty great. As much as I love knitting, I love having a finished product. I think that's probably what motivates me the most to do it, is getting closer to that finish line. I'm getting some motion that you're getting music, but I don't know if you can even hear it. I may have just turned it down too much. We'll see. I'll watch the playback and see how it sounds. This is another one where we drop the stitches, so let's do this. That was not loose enough. That one almost disappeared. At least I'll try not to twist these stitches as I knit them. That's definitely gonna have to go on there. I think what's happening is I'm dropping this stitch, knitting the next stitch, and it's pulling the dropped stitch up. My tension is not, I'm applying too much tension to that next stitch. So I'll just treat it like a cable and use the cable needle because I can't see myself doing an entire sock this way without there being problems. I just know myself too well. I don't tend to use a cabling needle, a special cabling needle for cables either. I just use another double point. So this is pretty much exactly how I do cables. Two, three. And the only difference with this and cables is we're directly going over 3 stitches instead of a gradual over each stitch, if that makes any sense. Cables normally only go over 1 or 2 stitches, and this one's going over 3, so it's not a direct cable in that sense. I don't know if there is a video out there for this particular sock to show how to do this stitch. Clearly with my viewpoint, it's not easy to see the way I'm doing it. But hopefully I've provided enough of an explanation that folks can figure it out from here. The designer does make comments on the Ravelry page if you go there, if you're able to go there and check it out, if you are stuck. But it really just comes down to knowing that the instructions say knit 1 wrapping yarn around the needle twice, and that's the entire of that 1 stitch. And I think the problem is that they put a comma in the pattern where they said knit 1, comma, wrapping yarn around the needle twice. And while grammatically that makes sense, in a knitting pattern you kind of want to stick the comma after that so that you know that the wrapping goes with the stitch. Okay. So I think now we have 2 rows of just working the stitches as they lay. Certainly looks like a larger sock. I'm going to measure this up against the previous sock here in a moment, after I'm done these 2 stitches, just to get an idea, because it feels like a larger sock. But the sizing is given in circumference, but it doesn't say where that circumference measurement should come from. And they say that a size 9 is a small. So hopefully someone with tiny feet isn't trying to actually make this sock. It does come in extra small, but if you're like, I would imagine a size 8.5 or smaller, you'd struggle. So not for the petite person. So one of the cooler things that I've been watching this week on streams when I'm able to is, I think last week I was speaking with someone about an electronic spinning device, little mini nano thing. So I've been watching several streamers use that, and it's so fascinating. I think that might be something I can actually do with regards to spinning. I haven't seen anyone actually start a new bat though with it, so I'm not sure how that would be. That would be where I would struggle, is getting started. Once I can go, then I think I'm good, but it would be the getting started portion. I don't know if you would need a lead thread or how that would work, but I imagine there's all kinds of videos and information out there for that. But I'm going to be dropping $100 on a tool. I kind of want to be able to use it. As far as spinning tools are concerned, if it's a reasonable price for something like that. I certainly don't mean to imply that. But from my end, I do want to be able to use it, so that would be my only concern, is getting it started, I think. Just realizing my needles are hitting the table a lot. I apologize if that's causing some feedback for you. Oh my gosh, I just had a wonderful idea. I watched a stream earlier today where the crafter, he had placed his camera, he had attached it to himself so that you could see the actual viewpoint of the, he was crocheting, so it was to see the crochet work from his viewpoint. And for the most part, it worked fairly well. We absolutely could see very nicely what he was doing. The only problem was it moved with him, so it was a little bit of a shaky cam, which I think would be a problem. But I'm just realizing that my mic is directly in line right in front of me, straight down to my knitting. So if I were to attach my webcam to my mic somehow and use that, you could see my knitting from my viewpoint. I may have to try that for Wednesday. I'm going to do that. I'm going to write that down because otherwise I will forget. And that may be able to give that viewpoint without the shaky feel, which is what I'm looking for. Because I think for viewers that would be a little bit more user-friendly to see, especially for those who don't knit or crochet, who aren't familiar with how these stitches are supposed to be worked. To see them from the viewpoint of the crafter would be better, I think. I'm really liking this idea. I may have to jerry-rig something. I'm just inspecting my mic stand here, and I think I may have to jerry-rig something, but I think it is doable. And I'm trying very hard not to go onto a BRB screen and do this right now. I'll wait until Wednesday. We won't change things up now, because then that means I need to change all of the focusing and all of that. We'll see what I can come up with. All right, so that's 2 repeats. I don't know if you can see that. It's going to be very pretty on the foot. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. There's a couple of spots here I can see where I twisted the stitches, so it does make a difference. Let's compare this to the other sock here, just for an idea. Okay, it's not bad. It's about the same. It's about the same. We're okay. All right. No worries. This will fit my foot. So I imagine that exactly is this, because this one had yarn overs and the lace work, that it would be stretchier than the herringbone. So that's probably why the 72 stitches is the better option for this sock. Okay, just trust the pattern, Shakti. Designers know what they're doing. I am not a designer. Just trust the pattern. And the amount of times that I say that when working a project. And we've got 2 pattern repeats is just over an inch. So we're at 3 inches right now, and we need to be at 6.5 before we start our heel. So that's pretty good. So we need another 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 8 pattern repeats before we get to the heel. Okay, I'll have to make sure that I measure it at 8, because that's a longer toe than I thought we were at. Good to know. I'm glad I checked that beforehand. I don't know if my math in my head makes any sense. I just start spewing out numbers. It makes sense to me so that I know where I'm going, but I just realized that from your vantage point, none of that may make any sense. Alright, I decided I was just going to treat this as a cable needle so I won't worry about doing the loose wrapping business, because that is not where the problem lies. Problem is with the next stitch after I drop it. Going to have to make sure that I remember to make these notes on my project pages. I'm trying to put all of my project pages onto my blog. But that's not set up as easily as I can just do it in Ravelry. But I'd like to have it a bit more centralized for myself. Try and get off Ravelry as much as possible. Minimize my dependence there. But it means I need to commit to actually doing that with my day. And I don't always have the time to do that. There's not much else happening in our world. It's just life, you know? There's not much else going on. Now that things are opening up, which is super exciting, we're getting together with our pals, doing things. We were able to play cards this week. It was so great. I've mentioned in the past that I play Magic the Gathering, and we were able to get the pre-release kits on Friday. Oh, worth the wait. I'm so excited because this particular pack that is being released is a mashup between Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, and it is so cool. So cool. I'm in love with the entire set. I haven't gotten all of the cards that I want from this set yet, but we still have some packs that we get to open later this week, so looking forward to that. The Dungeons and Dragons theme that they're kind of going with, aside from the generic you go traversing in a dungeon kind of a feel, and or you know, you meet at an inn or you come to a river and then you have to make choices, that sort of thing. The characters themselves that they've introduced into Magic the Gathering are Forgotten Realms characters, which have some of the best books as well. So I definitely now need to again reread some of these books just to get really immersed, you know, just go whole hog. I've been known to obsess over these types of things in the past. Why stop now? Oh yes. I was totally lost at what I needed to do there for a moment. It's all good. I got it now. I got it. need to panic. I'm in control. Yeah, that's really interesting. Oh, I'm not even in camera there. It's really interesting. I'm kind of liking this. To be fair, I did not choose this pattern because of the actual pattern itself. I was looking for something that was toe up, that had something more than just a vanilla sock. I needed to have something a little bit more interesting on the foot, and it had to be toe up. In order to accommodate a very boring yarn. I feel this is a boring yarn. It's not ugly. It's nice colors and so forth, but it is, in my opinion, boring. So I wanted a pattern that could accommodate a less interesting yarn, something that didn't require something self-striping or what have you. So it certainly fits the bill. I think this would be nice in a... Need to get some good shoes to show off some of these socks. There's some socks where you could just kind of... It's only above the ankle that is really interesting, and others are just vanilla and they're just fun. But some of these patterns really deserve a good shoe to show them off. I think for my next pair I'm going to go cuff down though, and just do like an actual cable sock. I'll have to see what yarn I have available, because I know I have more of this boring yarn style, so that's just going to need interesting patterns, interesting textures. I do have some fun yarns, so I may just let those yarns be the appeal of the sock. We'll see where we're at. And some of those fun yarns are just great to use in things like shawls and whatnot. If you have it with another solid color, they tend to really shine there. The really bright stripy yarns. Okay, this is another wrapped row. Come on. Seem to have forgotten how to purl. I'm gonna have to do a little stretch after this row. It's not a yarn, oh goodness. There we go. I've been going for almost an hour and a half, so yeah, it's about time for a stretch. There we go. see if I can find some Dimka-free disco. That could be a thing. That could be a thing. Listening to the DGs today, it was definitely a disco kind of a day. Yeah, I think by attaching my camera to my mic, that might correct my seating problem as well and be easier on my back. I think that might be a thing. It might be a thing. I'm probably, to be totally fair, I'm probably going to be doing that like as soon as we're done here today. I'll be giving that a try. See if I can make that work. I'm going to have to make sure that I don't bump the mic either though when I do that. Which I do a lot. You may have noticed. There's almost an air pressure change just now in the room. We're supposed to be getting thunderstorms tonight, so that may exactly be what's happening right now. It was a lovely day yesterday. It was hot, but it wasn't super humid. So it was a great day to sit outside and hang out. Today, super humid. Super humid. And the humid and hot is ripe for thunderstorms. Not that I think that our city will actually get it, because it's almost like we have a dome covering our region where just the thunderstorms, any rain, any precipitation tends to go, oh, there's a dome, we're just going to go round. We're not even going to get in on that. Our neighborhood seems to be immune from getting any kind of rain, which means I need to water my plants all the freaking time. And I think that the groundhog that's living under my neighbor's porch, under their deck, excuse me, is has completed their swath of destruction on my plants. Mostly because I have very few plants left for them to destroy. So I'm going to just plant things that they don't like to eat for next year, which happens to be, you know, like the plain and boring hostas with ugly flowers, and that sort of thing. They tend to just not even touch those, but they're hardly exciting either. I like a flower that has a lot of stuff to it, a lily or something. You know, they're always impressive to look at. Unfortunately, those are also beloved by critters. That's the trade-off. I have never successfully, excuse me, I should rephrase. I have successfully had a single tulip bloom. It lasted for one day and then it was gone. And I have planted hundreds of tulips in my gardens. Unfortunately, after I plant them, the squirrels come and dig them all up and store them for the winter and they're good to go. So they never make it to spring, and so I don't see them. So I've given up on those entirely. And we haven't had enough rain for irises to bloom, so those I just have stalks. My lilies I was able to keep around for a few days this year before the squirrels ate them all. I had a number of those little plastic windmill things that you can get like 1,000 for $1. So I have those all over my yard, and I was able to keep them away from my lilies for a few days. And then the groundhog showed up and made his presence known. And that was the end of that. It's just an ongoing saga every year, and there's nothing that I seem to be able to do to keep them away. So next year, I just plant things they don't want. We do have a very large elm in the front yard, so our city takes green space fairly seriously. And in our neighborhoods, they have planted a lot of elms and other trees. And the one in our front yard belongs to the city. It doesn't belong to this property. So it was getting quite overgrown, and when it was planted, I'm not sure what the thought process was, but not 6 feet away is a stop sign. So this tree requires a lot of trimming just to be able to see the stop sign. So we had a call into the city to have them come and trim it because it was getting to be excessive. And we couldn't even get into our car without getting swacked in the face from this tree. So yes, it was a personal request just to make it easier to unload groceries and whatnot. But anyway, they came and they trimmed the tree down, and there's a lot of exposed roots on this tree as well. So they're going to have to, which is a safety concern. If anybody trips on the roots, then the city is liable for it. And unfortunately means they need to grind it down, which may harm the tree. So hopefully it doesn't, because it is a lovely tree. But it's what needs to be done. And if it does harm the tree, if it does kill the tree, then we'll have to find another solution for that area. Because it does provide some lovely shade, and it's just a beautiful tree. It's extremely healthy in every respect. But those roots are a problem. Not only are they a safety hazard, but they're getting close to the house and whatnot, and it could cause problems with piping and structure and whatnot. So we'll see what happens. They've warned us it may be another year yet before they're able to take care of those roots, though, because they're fairly backed up. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, it's trimmed. We can get into our car. We can unload groceries without being smacked in the face. Okay, that's round 5. I was not paying attention to where we were, so that's something. I can lose myself in this pattern. That bodes well. May have to go on a quick break here and refill my water bottle. It's getting a little low. I'll do my next round and finish the pattern repeat and then do that, I think. Oops. Don't split the yarn, Shakti. There we go. Certainly get lost in these rows. Yes, this is row 6. Okay. It almost looked like I had done an extra just knitting round here, but I had not. I'm gonna have to go in as well and sew up that toe end off that thread, or I'll forget all about it and I'll be putting the sock on going, what is on my toes, and get all tangled. Because that is not a feeling I enjoy. Something stuck between my toes. Ugh. Nope. I can't even wear flip-flops because of that. I just don't like the feeling. We all have something, don't we? Alright, I'm going to take a break right here. Just finish off this little section. That is our third pattern repeat. It's coming along nicely. Yeah, there's a couple of, I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a couple of twisted stitches here where it didn't pick up, where I didn't knit it the right way. I don't know if you can kind of see it. It's not laying exactly nicely and open, but that is a minor inconvenience. So I'm just going to go on a BRB screen here. I'm going to refill my water and take a quick stretch. I invite you to do the same. And we'll meet back here in just a few. All right. Be back. All right, I'm back here. Let me just, my captioner took a dump. So let me just get this all set up again. Yeah, it looks like it's working okay. I'm also going to just relink the pattern that we're doing today. There we go. So it's a free Knitty pattern. So definitely, if you've never discovered Knitty, check them out. They have some great stuff. I'm also leaving the door open of this room, so hopefully it's not too disruptive. The cat may come in and join us, which would not be a bad thing. She might not, because her person is home, so she tends to want to hang out with her person as much as possible. So we'll see what happens. Just for context, I am not her person. That would be my middle kid. Alrighty, so we are starting repeat number 4. And you'll note that I did not change my webcam view. I was good as much as I wanted to. I didn't do it. That'll be Wednesday's stream. We'll have that set up for then. I will find a way. I've decided I will find a way. Okay, you know what? I think I did do an extra. It feels like I did do an extra row there. Well, let's see how the next one looks. I may have to pull back a couple of rows. I don't know. I may just ignore it. I don't know. It just looks really, really spaced out here. Yeah, it just feels like I've done far too many. Let's see how it looks for the next row. It might be okay. Maybe this will be my happy little mistake in this sock. I was noticing that there was actually a channel for Bob Ross here on Twitch, so I don't know if that's something that is just a state of Bob Ross that does the Twitch streams, or somebody else. I don't know, but it's really cool. Never actually done and followed along with any of those. I think that would be a fun drinking game kind of a event. I'll do a Bob Ross paint night, and whenever he says whatever phrase, whacking the brush, or happy little mistake, or happy little trees, or happy anything, you come up with some good stuff. Or watch it on, 1.5 speed and try and keep up with them. That could be fun. All right, let's see where this looks here. This is round 2. Okay, that's not bad actually. No, I probably did do it right. It looks to be about the same now. Okay, crisis averted. It's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. You may also be hearing doors opening and closing by leaving the door open. At least there's some more air movement in here and I'm not dying of heat. It's still fairly hot, but there's at least some air movement. So I could probably do this in front of the TV if I made sure to use my other needle. It's going to be interesting doing this around the entire leg though. I'm going to have to rearrange it. I think I'm going to be doing, I'll move it so that there's 2 repeats on each needle and that'll be better. 2 repeats on each Nederland. I don't know what a Nederland is, captioner. I don't know if it's even scrolled up high enough for you. Just keep talking. Anyway. I don't know what a Nederland is, but that's what it's telling me. It's trying its best. I honestly don't know why I didn't think about moving my camera onto my mic stand before. That seems like an obvious solution. To me, it seems like an obvious solution now. It may be a horrible solution once I have it all set up, but we'll see. Alright, so this is another wrapped row. Having a craving for ice cream right now. It is the perfect ice cream day. I could really go for a nice bowl right now. There is an ice cream truck that frequents our neighborhood and surrounding neighborhoods. So I belong to a couple of Facebook groups for the neighborhood, and one of them has turned into this, the ice cream truck watch. Where is the ice cream truck at this time? It's almost like that Eddie Murphy sketch. The ice cream truck is coming! Mom! The ice cream truck is coming. It's a very problematic sketch, that whole bit that he has. In the early 80s, though, it was hilarious. But anyway, he talks about the ice cream truck and being a kid getting the ice cream truck, and it's very much like that now. The problem is we have to make sure that we have cash on hand to frequent the ice cream truck. But the other day, I think it's caught wind of this ice cream truck watch group, because it's starting to stay in place for a while. It was sitting at the corner there last week for almost an hour. So it actually gives people time to find out where it is so that we can all go and get our ice cream. Even though we have plenty of ice cream in the freezer, there's nothing like getting it from an ice cream truck. Just a fun experience. Which is kind of silly, isn't it? It's just ice cream from a truck. Something different. Alright, this one is a cabling row. I think I need to go get my frames adjusted a little bit. They keep sliding down. Just need to get them tightened a little bit, I think. Problem is that the eyewear store that I get my glasses from, during COVID, everything has been by appointment only, so to try and just a quick adjustment might be a bit of a pain in the butt. I don't know if they're open for just walk-ins yet. because of course they're a national company, so they have to accommodate the every province, and every province here has different mandates with regards to what's open and what isn't. I think actually I'm in one of the provinces that is the last to fully open. I think British Columbia and Manitoba might be more locked down than we are. But as far as the rest of them, I think that everyone else is fairly open. However, we have a fairly high population percentage that is vaccinated compared to several other provinces, so that's reassuring for me. Nationally, we're doing very well, but Ontario seems to be doing really great in getting vaccinated, which I'm happy for. So 2 rounds of just knitting. Let's do this. Well, and purling, but nothing fancy. We should be able to get 5 repeats done tonight, which would be good. And if we do need 8 altogether before we get to the heel, that means we'll be able to easily do a heel next week. We'll see where we're at. There's 1. Start to feel my back being frustrated with this again. Which definitely signals that we should be near the end of the stream. So if I can adjust where the camera is, that'll be beneficial. Hi, All Crafty. Oh, no worries. No worries. Just been rambling. It's all good. Nothing exciting has been happening. We're just knitting through the pattern. How have you been? I hope this week was good to you. Alright, this is the last row of this pattern repeat. And then I'll do a quick stretch and see where we're at. It's okay, got a sock finished today. Yay! Fantastic. Love seeing the finished projects. Hopefully the second one knits up for you fairly quickly as well. I was saying earlier, that seems to be my motivation with knitting, is that I love the process of knitting. It's great, but I'm super excited when I have a finished project. That's what keeps me going. It's good to know what motivates you and use that. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to grab a more interesting yarn for the next sock that we do. Oh, that's really actually bunching up quite a bit there. I'll take it with me tomorrow to work on. We have about an hour and a half drive tomorrow. Oh wow. Oh wow. I'm not sure how long I have to be there. And is the pupper okay in the vehicle for that long? I'm not sure how. I mean, some dogs are great that way, I imagine. I know my cat would not be good for an hour and a half in the car. She would lose her mind. She hates riding. Oh no. Well, hopefully it goes okay. Hopefully she's not too much trouble for you. And hopefully the visit isn't too bad for her either. We do what we must for our fur babies, though. All right, I'm starting repeat 5. The poor thing has been through a lot in the past few weeks. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it still looks like this is a really elongated section here. She collapsed one morning and we had to take her to the emergency. Oh no. Oh my. That's scary. Well, hopefully they can find out what's happening. That must be terrifying for you. It doesn't really make it any. I was going to, oh, they think it's Addison's or a tumor in her pancreas. So I imagine that's treatable then if it's Addison's. I imagine she's older than. Not that that really matters, young or old. It's always scary when they have to go through this stuff. Treatable with meds. Okay, well that's something at least. We'll hope for that then. She's 11. Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really matter whether they're young or old. It's always scary. We want them to be with us forever, so. She's a Chihuahua, so they usually live a little longer than larger dogs. Okay, how long do they normally live? I don't know. I'm not really familiar. I mean, I know the Chihuahua breed, but I'm not really familiar with their particular quirks. Oh wow, nice. 16 is pretty good. I'm not, I've growing up, we never had a dog. We don't have a dog here at home. We're just not dog people. Cats for sure, but no dogs. So the only experience I have is with, you know, my grandparents on the farm or friends or whatever. And I think most of my friends actually have all larger dogs, labs and shepherds and that sort of thing. And my grandparents always had shepherds, always. And I think their oldest one, she passed away at 15 years, so that's fairly decent. Her long life didn't make it easier when she passed, but... Oh, I did remember to wrap that one. Okay, I thought I had messed that stitch up. Ever since she was about 6 months old. Aww. She must have been adorable as a puppy. They're pretty cute full grown, but as a puppy I can't even imagine. Pretty much anything little as a baby is adorable. Which is probably for the best, since all they do is poop and cry of any species. Oops. Let's not pull out that needle. That would be great if I could just keep the needles in my stitches. Having the door open to this room makes a huge difference to the air movement, my goodness. Just working out all kinds of solutions today. Just a good thinking day, I guess. I don't always have good thinking days, but when I do, they're really good thinking days. Just an ideas day, I guess. Still thinking about ice cream though. Definitely there will be ice cream when we're done here today. That is happening in my future. I think I even have some frozen berries too. Oh, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have some berries and ice cream. That's the thing that's happening. Okay, I've got another wrap row here. So my brother is moving here in September. We're in Ontario and he is in Alberta, and it is 4 or 5 days of driving to get here. And he had sent me a message and said, if we mail you, express ship you some frozen berries, will you keep them in your freezer? Because there are berries that we can get out west that we can't get here. So he was like, if we ship them to you, can you keep them in your freezer for us? Because we want these berries and they won't make the trip. So we'll see how that works. I don't know if that's actually going to be a thing, because I can't guarantee that they'll remain frozen for shipping either. So I might have some extra berries hiding in my freezer. I've been in a Talenti butter pecan kick. Oh, that sounds interesting. I imagine that would be pretty tasty. I think all we have is vanilla and mint chocolate chip. I think we're out of Primo. We might have some Neapolitan. With the berries, it doesn't really matter because that's where the rock star shining is. I'll see. I'll have to dive into my freezer and see what we got. It just happens to be I don't crave ice cream often, so I'm going to definitely jump on that today. Yeah, I don't know if my brother's gonna find a way to ship out berries and keep them frozen. We'll see. Certainly, I don't see that being as a cheap option. Shipping cross country here is expensive. And to do it express, it might just be cheaper just to see if we could find a source out here. But we'll see. They may be able to figure out a way. This is a cable row. I'm probably tired of hearing about my spinning. I am not tired of hearing about your spinning. Please tell me all the things about all the spinning. You're spinning some self-striping yarn. That's going to be so fun. Do you have plans for what you're going to make with it? Is it going to be socks, or are you doing something different? Tell me all the things. I am here for it. So if you're done with if you're doing self-striping now, you must be done with the previous batch that you were doing. If I'm remembering correctly. I hope I am. It's always fun to share the stuff that you're working on. I get it. You just want to tell everybody. I'm hoping it will be socks, but it may be too heavy. It might turn out to be a DK weight. Okay. So what are you... So a DK might work for a shawl or something. If you can find an interesting shawl pattern that'll work with the self-striping. Or a cowl or something. And the one that you've just plied, what are you planning for that one? Or do you have plans for that one? Is it just going to be a stash yarn? Might be socks for the hubby. See what calls to you, right? I know that's what happens for me with my yarn. I try to buy socks, or socks. I try to buy yarn that I need for a particular pattern, but sometimes the yarn is just amazing and I need to have it in my stash with no plans. And I can imagine that with spinning, it's probably similar. Because that would be far more of a process craft than an end state craft, I guess, for some. Time for a drink here. Hold on. I'll finish this a little bit. I'm bad about wanting all the shiny new things. Yeah. I can relate to that. That is something that I can definitely relate to. It's looking pretty good. Yes, collecting as a hobby is absolutely a thing. I try not to. It's really hard. And I'm married to someone who also has collecting as a hobby. My spouse is, he plays the drums and he's learning to do guitar and bass, and we have an entire basement full of instruments that very few of us can play, but we're learning. But it definitely has a full studio set up because it's one of those, it's a shiny new thing and we need to have it. So between him and I, it's not a good not a good scene. But you know, we have our vices. I've done fairly good with my yarn. Like, at least I have it. My worsted weights, I have my sweater quantities sorted separately, and I have kind of an idea of what sweaters I want to make with them. I need to actually make those sweaters, but I have plans, at least, for those. The sock yarn, though, that's just so easy to pick up and, you know, a single skein, and then you just have it, you know? Some of it is just so pretty. How can you say no? And then I have the problem where I decide I'm going to make this particular project, whatever it is, and lo and behold, I don't have the yarn I require for it. So I guess I go shopping. But it hasn't taken over the entire house yet. I still have space. So I'm okay. That's what I keep telling myself. Thinking of starting a sweater next. I'm a little burnt out on socks. Yeah, sometimes you need that break. Problem is, I do have sweaters I want to start and I want to work on. The problem is that I feel guilty because I have a sweater in progress that is not sewn up. And I can't justify to myself starting something new when I still have that same project waiting. So I really just need to do it, get it done. But there's so many lovely patterns out there. Not burnt out on socks yet. I set a goal for myself to knit 12 pairs this year, and I'm way behind on my goal. So I don't think I'm actually going to reach it. Fairly certain I'm not going to reach it. So I'm okay with still knitting socks for a while. I have a suspicion though that once I'm done the couple of blankets that I'm working on, I'll be done with those for a while. Make a day of stream for sewing it up. Yeah. You know, that's really what's going to happen is I'm going to have to make it a public event so that I'm committed. It really is gonna, I know this about myself. That's the only way it's going to be done. It's been sitting on my form, my sewing form, for nearly 2 years, waiting to be sewn up. But it's a problem. And every time I look at it, I think, oh, that's a really nice knitting job. Too bad it's not sewn up. It's a lovely pattern too. It's definitely the type of sweater that I would wear the heck out of. So you'd think I'd be motivated, but okay, this is the last row of my repeat, I think. I'm going to take a measurement after this and see where we're at. I'm positive we're not in far enough yet for the heel. I think we still need a few more repeats for that, but I do want to just be sure. Yeah, I think I definitely need to get these glasses adjusted. They're slipping down way too fast. It's a problem with new frames. It always takes a few weeks to get the right fit on them. All right, let me mark this down. It's a total of 5 pattern repeats. 4 3/4. And it's looking at like about just over 1/2 inch for another, for each repeat. 5/8 maybe for each repeat, and we need to go to 6 1/2. So 3 more repeats. And I said, okay, so that matches pretty much exactly what I said. I was estimating about 8 repeats. So we are on track. This is good. I do like it when a plan comes together. All right, let's do another repeat here and see how my back feels. Weird things sticking out on my shirt. I just noticed. I've been going around all day with this weird pokey thing out of my shirt. That's fine. Nobody said anything, so I guess it's not that obvious. Either that or they just enjoyed the laugh for the day. Alright, so we are on round 1. You did. Thanks. It's down to my waist, so I would have been surprised if you had noticed something, but thank you for that. I just happened to notice because I bumped up against it, which is weird. But, you know, that's just the way it goes. Alright, this is a wrappy one. 2, 3. Not that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I do have berries in the freezer. I hope I do. That just makes the ice cream really good, but I'm starting to doubt that I do. I think I may have used them all. The places my brain goes. So random. Surprised the cat hasn't made her presence known yet. Even with her person home, she at least says hello once. It's usually as soon as the door opens. She has to come check it out. My eyes are starting to water here. I don't know what that's about. Excuse me a moment. I'll just start crying on stream for no reason. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, this is a cable row. My eyes are still watering. I don't know what that is about. I'm not sniffling, so it's not allergies. Staring at these needles too long? I don't know. I've been knitting all day, so maybe my eyes are just saying enough of that. Who knows? Well, I'm gonna finish this repeat regardless. Maybe I do need to take a break. maybe I do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish the next few rows here and then just call it a night and put the yarn away. I was thinking about maybe working on a blanket after stream and do some crocheting, but that might be even too much. Just grab some ice cream and turn on the TV and veg. It's a good way to end a Sunday. Recharge for the morning. Problem is I don't like leaving things in the middle of a pattern. It's like stopping in the middle of a row and then you pick it back up and you're not sure where you are. So stopping in the middle of a pattern is not... I've been known to make pretty big errors that way. But I only have a few rows to go, so I think I can handle it. It might be that I haven't used, because this is the first real day where I've used the reading portion of my glasses for any length of time. So it might just be that as well. That it really is just saying, whoa there, settle down. Could be, I think so. It always takes some time to settle into a new prescription, so I'm thinking that's probably what it is. And I've been going for nearly 3 hours, so... or I will be by the time I'm done here, so that's not bad. That's a good, acceptable showing. I think this is another cable row coming up. And then 2 quick knit rows and we're good to go. It's funny how it's bunching up in these ridges. I'm sure it'll wear fine, but it's just funny how that's knitting up that way. Also has to do with the fact that I'm fairly tight knitter, so that doesn't help, I'm sure. I like these little stars as stitch markers, but sometimes they get caught and they don't like to move. I just need them to slide. Forgot what I was doing again. That's okay. That was very noisy. I apologize. Slam that needle down on the table. I clearly did not have enough for supper. I'm thinking about, so yesterday we had friends over, as I was mentioning, for my my husband's birthday. We had some friends over and we did it all potluck, and one of my friends brought over a buffalo chicken dip. Oh my god, it was so good, and she left it with us. I had some with my lunch today, and I'm thinking about having it now, but I'll probably have ice cream and then some more dip. I'm sure that's perfectly healthy, right? It was so good. But it clearly shows that I didn't have enough for supper if I'm thinking about food that much. I'm a nighttime snacker anyway, but I don't often go that crazy. Ice cream and a dip? I wonder if I could dip the ice cream. I'm not doing that. That would be crazy. I'm not insane. These are almost long enough to try on. That's a pretty good showing for the day. So we'll definitely be able to get to the heel next week. Hi, roleplay gamers. Doing well. How are you today? Glad to hear it. I hope your weekend was well. I hope it was relaxing, recharging. You caught me nearly at the end of my stream today. I was just laying out the plan for next week. I think that we're going to be working on a couple more pattern repeats, and then we'll be moving on to the heel of the sock, which is pretty exciting. But I think I've got one more row in me for tonight, and then I'm going to call it a night here. And go get some ice cream. It's definitely happening. Starting the last row here. I'm really pleased with how much we got done today. It's a good chunk. So we did all of the pattern repeats that are here today. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Let's have a quick boo here. It's looking pretty nice, isn't it? Yeah, that definitely needs a good chew once it's done. I'm gonna have to find something that'll work with that. But that's been really pretty. I'm happy. I'll make sure to mark down that I did this repeat here. All right. Put that back in frame. Yeah, so I'm gonna call it a night there. We did a lot today. Next week I will work on the heel for this. I'll do a couple more pattern repeats and we should be good to go for the heel. Wednesday I will be back doing another crafting stream, and I will work on a tauntaun that day. I won't be working on a blanket. I'll be crocheting a tauntaun, so that'll be fun. Just for something a little bit different, and we should be able to get the entire thing done in the stream, I'm hoping. So you'll be able to see the full build for one of those. All right, so thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate having you all here to chat with and listen to me ramble on. It was a good Sunday. So I appreciate this. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you again on Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern.